Oh, hello everyone, it's Melanie here with Vintage Hill Studio. Today I have a trio of pumpkins Thanksgiving card that looks like this. So let's hop right into it. I'm using the Momenta clear stamps on the left and the Craft Smart rubber stamp on the right, and I'll show you how I put these together. So I've got a few markers here, and I am going to actually color right onto my rubber stamp. You can do this with water-soluble markers like this. So I'm just playing around here to see what shades will work on each one of these little pieces of cardstock. And I'm doing that because, again, I'm going to color right over these pumpkins. Now you use the flat side of your marker to color the stamp, and then that works very well instead of trying to use the pointed end. So just flatten out your marker, color along the stamp. I'm going to add the leaves in the stem, and then I'm going to stamp that right down onto my paper, giving a good press. And you can see this is a very detailed stamp. I just huff on it with my breath to kind of reactivate some of the ink in case it dried in between coloring the different layers. And then without cleaning my stamp, I'm just going to move on to the next colors and keep repeating this process until I have all three of my pumpkins beautifully colored. Again, I love this little stamp. It has a lot of detail to it, so I don't have to do anything except stamp this down. And you can see this goes pretty quickly here. I think it's fun to kind of keep things simple sometimes, and so that's the momentum driving this card this week. So I'll get all three of these pumpkins stamped down, and then I'll move on to my leaves. Okay, looking good. We'll set those aside to dry, and then I'm just bringing over a little scrap here of ivory cardstock, and I'm going to stamp several leaves using that same method of laying the marker down on its side and giving these a little bit of color. Now, the thing with these leaves is it is just the outline and the veining, kind of like the pumpkins, but we're going to color these in as well. So again, I'll give myself several of these leaves. Not sure which ones I'm going to use yet, so I'm going to make several at a time. After I get through stamping these down, I'm going to bring over those same markers and color on the inside of them. So I don't want anything too dark, because if I go too dark, it's going to eliminate the detail of these leaf stamps. I don't think you can go wrong with a gorgeous combination of fall leaves and some pumpkins. And so that lends itself very well for any of your Thanksgiving or fall cards. Gosh, Thanksgiving is coming up very quickly here. I think October just flew by, and now we just have a couple of weeks till Thanksgiving, and I actually have gotten to where I really enjoy this holiday. It's just a matter of spending time with family. You're not worried about all the excessive decorations, although I do decorate for fall with pumpkins and leaves and so forth. In fact, whatever I put out for Halloween, I generally just carry over for fall, which makes decorating so much easier. But I, again, love the holiday because it's just getting together with family and friends and enjoying every minute of just being together. Okay, and then I'm going to bring over my scissors here and just cut around these leaves. And I'm leaving a very tiny border, and I'm not worried about all the details of that leaf image. There's no way I could cut that directly with my scissors, but I don't want a large border either, and I'll show you why. I've gone right up to that edge, and the next thing I'm going to do when I get all my leaves colored in is just take that same color and a little scrap of paper and go over those white edges, or the cream edges, just to get those to blend in with the rest of the leaf. It's very simple to do, so now I don't have any edges showing. Next, I'm going to do the same thing and fussy cut out each one of these pumpkins, again with trying to stay along the printed line the best that I can, leaving very little, if any, border. And then again, I'll come back with the same color of marker that I used on each pumpkin and color in anything that is not the same color as the pumpkin. Just finishing that up, deepening some of the shadows, giving it a little depth and dimension. Then I've simply cut out a little banner. I just cut this by hand by folding this piece over in half on it to itself and then cutting that little V in the bottom. Getting that put onto my card, which is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inches. If you're interested in the supplies and dimensions that were used to make this card today, just scroll down into the description below this video and I'll have all that listed for you. Now when I start tucking in these leaves, I decided that the oranges and yellows weren't really standing out that much. So off camera, I did a few more just using the green leaves. Now I've added a few foam squares behind each of my pumpkins and I'll get those put down on the front of my card. This gives me some space behind each pumpkin to add those leaves. So I'll start tucking in the green leaves here and there and see how this cut looks. As you can see, I'm gluing the leaves just flat against the card front because they're tucked in there behind my raised pumpkins that are up on that foam tape. Just working around with the composition here, seeing if I can bring over some of that orange or brown, and nope, I don't like it, so I'm just going to stick to the green leaves. I think that looks really pretty and really sets off those pumpkins. If I were to use any of those orange or yellow leaves, they just kind of blend right in with the pumpkin, so I'll save those for another project later on. Getting all these just tucked in there. Where I'm going to do one last thing to this leaf, I'm just going to glue one side so that it can raise up with the depth of the pumpkins behind it. So that gives me a little more dimension with the leaf as well. And this little one is also popped up on some foam tape. Looking good. Okay, and then off screen I've tied a little raffia bow for myself, and I'm going to put this right at the top of my card over that cluster of leaves and pumpkins. I think that's a nice touch there at the top of the card. It's looking good. Then I've stamped a little autumn blessings, and I'm only going to add glue on each end because I want to pop this up in the middle, kind of like a little freestanding flag or banner. Got a little space underneath the banner. And I stumbled upon this thing with my little hemp rope here, and anything that's small on the end like this ball stylus, just simply wrap that hemp around the stylus and look what you have, a little tendril for the top of each one of your pumpkins. So that worked out. That was a surprise. I've never tried that before, but it worked out great. I love seeing the little tendrils on the top of each pumpkin, so I'll do 3 of those. And then I will zoom in here and hopefully you can see those tendrils on each one of the little pumpkins. It's not going to add any substantial weight to your card or too much bulk when you put it in the envelope because the hemp will give. So I hope you can see this. I have really enjoyed sharing this card with you today. I hope you get a few tips and tricks out of some of the things that I've done. And I hope that you will come back and visit me again next week. Feel free to leave a comment, subscribe, and hope to see you soon.